The prime time.
Welcome to Prime Time and Happy New Year's, everybody. I'm your host, Hunter Chambliss, and we are doing something different tonight. I'm bringing you guys my top 10 favorite horror movies from 2025. 2025 was, again, a fantastic year for horror when it comes to not only the small indie movies, but also the big blockbusters are showing up in 2026 is looking to be the exact same. Horror in the 2020s is thriving, and I love to see it. So let's kick off with my number 10 movie of 2025. My number 10 is Keeper, directed by Osgood Perkins. Keepers follows a couple spending their anniversary weekend at a secluded cabin in the woods where strange things begin to occur and the cabin's dark secrets are revealed. Oz Perkins' latest horror experience left me on the edge of my seat with amazing performances, especially from Tatiana Maslany. I love the mystery and Oz's signature style that really works for me. Overall, Keeper is a movie that will work for some and won't work for others, but I'm in the camp that it works, and I cannot wait to see what comes next for Osgood Perkins. So if you guys enjoyed movies like Longlegs and The Monkey, definitely check out Keeper. And that is why it is at my number 10. Let's move on to our number 9 movie right now. All right, so my number 9 is Hard Eyes. Hard Eyes is a film that follows Allie, an ad exec, as she navigates Valentine's Day filled with romance and terror when a mass killer known as the Hard Eyes Killer targets couples in Seattle. Hard Eyes is a fresh and entertaining slasher and is one of the best Valentine's Day horror films to watch. The chemistry between Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding is insanely good. The kills are surprisingly violent and gory, and it really works for this tone of film. I also love how the Hard Eyes Killer is given an iconic and recognizable look that the horror community can latch itself onto. And that's the great thing. It's like in the 2020s, we've been getting a lot of iconic characters when you look at, you know, just when it comes to unique characters, and Hard Eyes definitely has that style to it. The Hard Eyes Killer has that recognizable look. And I feel like if you're looking for a fun slasher in the style of Scream with a little bit more comedy, go ahead and check out Hard Eyes. It is my number 9 for the best horror films of 2025. Let's move on to our number 8 right now. All right, guys, my number 8 is Shelby Oaks. Shelby Oaks is directed by Chris Stuckman in his directorial debut. This film follows a woman determined to find her sister who went missing while investigating the mysterious abandoned town of Shelby Oaks. Shelby Oaks is an incredible debut that really shows that horror is in good hands with up and coming directors like Chris Stuckman and somebody who is really a movie fan at heart, and he brings that movie knowledge and that film lovers aspect to this film that I really, really loved. The opening of this film is incredible. I love how it is able to blend multiple different styles of horror. I'm not going to ruin anything, but I love how he's able to perfectly blend different styles of horror into a great opening scene. It's such a fun and unique way. The acting is incredible, especially from Camille Sullivan. The scares are effective, and the mystery kept me guessing all the way through. So if you like independent movies with a really good mystery and a really good twist, then definitely check out Shelby Oaks. That is why it is my number 8. Let's move on to our number 7. All right, guys, my number 7 is Drop. Drop follows a character named Violent, a widow mother who receives a threatening message during her first date in years, which causes her to question her date and fear for her safety. This is a different film from director Christopher Landon, who brought us Happy Death Day to You, and also Freaky. But it's a different style that really works. Landon is known for his horror comedies. This does have some comedic moments, but he really took inspiration from Wes Craven's Red Eye. If you haven't seen that one is a really, really good suspenseful movie, and you can clearly see the inspiration of Red Eye in this film, and it's done to perfection. The acting all around is incredible, especially from Megan Faye. I love the mystery around where these texts are coming from, who are sending them, and why are they targeting this character. I also love the film's style and how it really how it shows the text across the screen, because it puts you in our main character's shoes and makes you just as uncomfortable as our main character when you're reading the text along with her. So, Drop is a really fun, really suspenseful movie, and that's why it is my number 7. Let's move on to our number 6. All right, guys, let's move on to our number 6. My number 6 is Black Phone 2. The story sees the siblings Finney and Gwen, along with their friend Ernesto, head to the winter youth camp to uncover a mystery regarding the first victims of the grabber, whose ghostly presence now haunts the camp. I've always said, especially when this movie was announced, that this is a sequel that doesn't need to happen. After watching it, I'm so glad it does, because the grabber is as close to a Freddy Krueger character as we're going to get for a very long time. And it works so well with this character. In the first one, you had that supernatural element. So this isn't going, it's not jumping the shark. It's not coming from something that was realistic to something that's supernatural. It's always been set in a supernatural world, and it makes the grabber even more terrifying. I love the dream sequences and the depth shown from inside the dream sequences and outside from the other character's perspective. Super terrifying. Again, gives us a really cool Freddy Krueger vibes of him killing and slashing people in their dreams, and then what other people experience on in the real world. And I really love that because it makes it more intense and more scary. The chemistry between Thymes and Madeline McGraw carries the dramatic moments between the siblings, and the film does a great job at looking how trauma affects people differently and how some people deal with their own trauma. Some people may go to therapy, and some people may try to deal with it. Or you have Mason Finney's character, who deals with it by getting into fights and being more quiet and getting into trouble and really going down a path of rebellion. And both are seen not as a good and bad way, but a way of how different people cope with traumas that have been forced onto them. So this movie is a really, really good sequel. Go ahead and watch it if you haven't. Have a great time. Ethan Hawke is incredible as always. He brings something very different to this role as the grabber. He's more intense, he's more scary, he's more vengeful, and you really feel that when you're watching the film, and he goes after the siblings and he goes after the people at the camp. And it being stuck in a secluded camp in the wintertime really gives it this, you can't escape feeling that I really, really love, this claustrophobic feeling. So that's why Black Phone 2 is my number 6. Let's move on to our number 5. All right, guys, our top 5 starts with Together. This film follows a couple who moves to a countryside and finds himself encountering a mysterious force that horrifically causes changes to their body. The atmosphere of this movie is dark and twisted in such a great way, and the story does a great job at diving into the world of codependency, and I love how they tackle this issue of feeling like you can't be your own person and you have to rely so much on other people that you don't become your own person, and how that can affect people who are going through such a tough relationship. and like, battling the codependency with the toxic relationship and the infighting and the just so much in this film that I love that it tackles this issue, deals with how bottling up your emotions, especially for so long, especially towards one person, can cause a rift between between a couple that was really in this together. The chemistry between real life couple Allison Brie and Dave Franco is incredible. As obvious, they both do a great job at mixing both dramatic and comedic performances, and the body horror is just really well done. It's not used a lot, so if you're looking for a body horror movie that really goes for it and it gives you a lot of body horror, this is not that film. But when it's used very effectively, and the moments where it happens makes the body horror stand out and makes it more terrifying because you don't see it coming. So that's why Together is my number 5. Let's move on to our number 4. All right, guys, our number 4 is Final Destination Bloodlines. This film follows a college student who inherits visions of a previous premonition that averts a deadly structure failure from 1968 from her dying grandmother, and is warned that death is coming for the family. Final Destination Bloodlines breathes a new and fresh air into this 14-year-old franchise that left me speechless. It takes a really interesting turn in the lore and the rules of the Final Destination franchise without overstepping and negating some of the other rules, which I love. It really incorporates all the rules from the previous 5 films and adds new ones to the lore and to the story. The film does a great job at dedicating time to the family and the family connections and just diving deeper into these characters, which is good because when the deaths and the death scenes do happen, it makes you care a little bit more and you want to see these characters make it out alive. You want to see these characters survive. And that's a really good thing because now you're torn between wanting to see the really cool, gory moments and also not seeing it because these characters are people that you love and people that you have made a genuine connection with. The acting is fantastic all around. The connection between Charlie and Stephanie as siblings is really adorable. And we got to give a massive shout out to Tony Todd, rest in peace, the legend himself, who gives a chilling and powerful speech about not having a lot of time left and what to do with that time. Hug your loved ones because you never know when death is going to come for you. And it brought me to tears because this was the final performance of Tony Todd before he tragically passed away. And according to the director, they allow Tony Todd to freeform this goodbye speech to the fans, not only expressing his love for the fans, the franchise, but telling people that it's okay to let him go because he's made so many fantastic performances that will live on forever. So rest in peace to the great Tony Todd. Foundation Bloodlines does a great job at recapturing what I loved about the Final Destination movies, which is the characters and their connection and the lore behind it and the deep dive of what is death doing and just gives us so many questions, so many answers. So Final Destination Bloodline is my number 4 of 2025. Let's move on to our number 3. All right, guys, my number 3 is a big surprise companion. This one came out early in January last year, and it just kept moving up on my list. The more I thought about it, the more I sat with it, the more I rewatched it, and just this film is so good. But I don't want to ruin anything for people who haven't seen it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work around this as much as possible. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details. But if you haven't seen it, please go watch Companion. It is so, so good. This is a great film that gets better every time I think about it. Again, I don't want to tell the plot because it's such a great story and a great twist that I didn't see coming, so I don't want this to ruin it for anybody else. The acting is incredible from Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher, who have amazing chemistry. Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher are just killing it when it comes to horror. I mean, Jack Quaid, of course, is just an amazing actor to begin with, and so is Sophie Thatcher, who was in 2024's Heretic, which I thought was super incredible, and she was really good in it. But their chemistry is what I love. This is a really fun, entertaining movie that really has a great pace to it, but it also has great messages of abuse and greed and what that greed can lead people to do and what people who are lonely will do, and just so many different themes that you really have to watch it for yourself. So go into this blind, don't know anything about it, and have a great time at the theater because Companion is my number three. Let's move on to our number two. All right, guys. So my top two could easily change, could easily be flipped, but right now I have decided this film is my number two, and that movie is Weapons. Weapons is my number two. The second film, directed by Zach Kreger, director of Barbarian, follows a group of school kids who randomly walk out in the early morning, never to be seen again. I absolutely love this film, and it is one that will stick with me for a very long time. The way Kreger's is able to perfectly balance horror and comedy is masterful because there are moments of genuinely terrifying moments that leave you on the edge of your seat, and then next they hit you with a joke that just works to relieve the tension just a little bit. It doesn't take you out. It doesn't break your suspense. It keeps it in suspense, but the dialogue is where the comedy comes from, and I really, really love that. The performances are incredible. Josh Brolin as a father looking for justice, trying to find his missing son, gives a heartbreaking performance. Julia Gardner is absolutely fantastic as she plays the teacher of the class that vanished and what the town is now deciding to go after her. The atmosphere of this film is another massive positive, and a massive reason why the horror works so well is because it puts you into this world of high tension. And I absolutely love that. This film also has a story about vigilante justice and what it means when a a town decides that someone is the villain and how harmful that could be to other people. And I also know that Zach Kreger said that this film does not have to do with school shootings. I disagree. I see that there can be some tie-ins to that aspect where it's a group of school kids who are missing, and what happened to them. The town has questions. The town is looking for someone to blame, and you got all of this great, you know, these great messages that are hiding behind such a horrific and fun and terrifying and entertaining film that this movie is so rewatchable, but the messages are hidden in plain sight. So that's why Weapons is my number two. Now, let's move on to my number one horror movie of 2025. All right, guys. So after going back and forth, as I said, my number one horror movie of 2025 is Sinners. Sinners follows the twins Smoke and Stax, both played phenomenally by Michael B. Jordan, as they return home to Mississippi to leave their troubles behind, only to discover that a greater evil awaits them. The first massive pro of this movie is the music, and how music really is the backbone of this film, how music can bring people together, and how music can also separate people, and how Ryan Coogler does a really great job at expressing that, the blues, which is, the crossroads, and seen as the devil's music, and just all of these really cool mythologies that are put in from music. The music is upbeat and fun, but also has a dark crossroads vibe that really works for the themes of this film. The themes of race might be the biggest theme, especially looking at the juke joint being the only place for minorities to have a great time without worrying about their safety, and that safety immediately being taken away from them. But I also love how the vampires in this movie are Irish. They're Irish vampires, so they have that sort of, they know what it's like to be discriminated against, and now they are going after other people who know what it's like to be discriminated against. And you have this really cool aspect of, we're both being discriminated against, but I want you, like, the vampires in this movie want to make them a part of a massive family, but in doing so they have to kill them. I love that duality of it, where it's like, I want to be together, I want to be a family, but in order to do so, I have to take you away from your human life. And that's such a really good way of looking at race and looking at the racial issues, especially considering, of course, for them being vampires, they have to be invited into the juke joint. They have to be invited into a black space in order to take it over. And you have a lot of stuff that are looking in that as well. There's also themes of greed and how the allure of money leads to downfall of people, and the power of believing in something bigger than yourselves. There are so many themes and so many reasons why I love this film. Just the way it's shot, the way it's, the way the action is done, the ending of the film, the dialogue, the acting, just everything about this movie works, and it has one of the best sequences in all of movies from last year. This is why Sinners is my number one. But as I said, it could change. It could go to weapons one day. But right now, the more I think about Sinners, the more I just absolutely love it. So that's why Sinners is my number one. So let's recap from 10 to 1. My number 10 is Keeper. My number 9 is Hard Eyes. My number 8 is Shelby Oaks. My number 7 is Drop. My number 6 is Black Phone 2. My number 5 is Together. My number 4 is Final Destination Bloodlines. My number 3 is Companion. My number 2 is Weapons. And my number 1 is Sinners. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you guys did enjoy this list. Let me know what your top 10 horror movies are in the comments below. Cannot wait to read them and see what you guys say. What do you think of my list? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Please let me know in the comments below as well. Have a great 2026, and I will see you guys very soon. And remember, hit that like button, subscribe to Welcome to Prime Time. And remember, stay scared.